Okay, in this demonstration, I'm going to create a PhoneGap app, which basically makes use of the camera API, the plugin API, to create a simple camera application which captures an image and stores it and displays it on the application interface. Okay, to begin with, I've created a folder to store my HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, basically my web components, which is going to be ported into the PhoneGap application as my user interface. Okay, I'm gonna make use of jQuery mobile components, so I'm created a folder which I plunked all my jQuery mobile components in this folder. I'm gonna make use of them later in my HTML file. So I'm just gonna go straight into my Dreamweaver. I'm gonna go create HTML. Okay, so let me first save this HTML as an index file in my folder. Okay, so first off, I want to make use of the jQuery mobile component. So to do that, I first have to link my HTML up with the CSS, jQuery JavaScript, and jQuery mobile JavaScript. So first thing, the jQuery mobile CSS. So next, jQuery JavaScript. And last but not least, my jQuery mobile JavaScript. Okay, so once I have these components in place, I'm going to create a jQuery mobile page architecture, a structure to house my content. So first off, I need to create a div, which is data row attribute belongs to a page. And within my page, I have a header. I'm just going to give it a title, camera app. And my content area. Okay, with that, I'm gonna need a button to access my camera application. I'm gonna need a placeholder for my image to store and display my image. So first of all, I'm gonna create a button, camera. I'm gonna name the ID with a btn_camera. So I'm gonna make use of the ID to assign my event handler. Okay, I'm gonna name this button with a label camera. Then next, I'm gonna create an image tag with an image ID equals to image cam placeholder. Okay, that's all I need for my HTML. So I'm just going to preview this in Firefox to make sure that everything is working in place. Okay, good. So now I'm gonna create the script, develop a script that is gonna create assign the functionality to my user interface. So take note that any custom script that comes to add interactivity to your PhoneGap application or web application, always, if you're using jQuery mobile components, make sure that your custom script comes after the jQuery script. So we're just going to create a script tag here. Please specify the type, JavaScript. Okay, so I'm going to call the self-executing function. In my self-executing function, it's going to make sure that the document is going to be ready and loaded before it runs anything. So this is actually the equivalent of document.ready function. Okay, in my JavaScript, I'm going to create a function called camSuccess. I'm going to create 3 functions. So the first function being cam success, passing in the image data argument, and I'm going to create a cam error which passes in the error argument, and last but not least a function which is to access camera. Okay, so first off, I need to assign an event handler to my button. So I'm going to use the jQuery selector using the ID hash with a prefix of hash button btn underscore camera on click. It is going to call my access camera function. Upon the execution of the access camera function, it is going to first off create the options as an object which stores several properties. Okay, I'm going to set the destination type as camera.destinationType.file URI. What this does is it defines the option that you are applying to the PhoneGap plugin that you want the image to be captured and returning its location on your phone. Okay. Next, I'm going to specify the source type, which is coming from the camera, because the PhoneGap Camera Plugin allows you to specify what is the source of this camera plugin when it's being accessed. You can basically grab the images from a camera or the photo gallery, for example. Okay, so in this case, we're going to use grab the source from the camera. Okay, so once you have the options instantiated, I'm going to call upon the camera object, which resides in the global navigator object, camera. I'm going to call the method from the camera object known as get picture. And within this get picture, there are three callback functions that can be assigned. So I'm going to assign with my three. I can assign with my 2 callback functions. So the first callback function being cam success. So what happens in the first argument is if the getting of the picture from the camera plugin is successful, the cam success will be called, and the object or the data of IMG data will be passed back into this function. So next is cam error, and last but not least, the options that we have just created earlier, just before the get picture is being called. Okay, so assuming that the getting of the picture from the plugin is successful, and image data will be passed into this function. So what I'm going to do in this function is I'm going to assign my image placeholder and set its attribute to the image data path, because what is being returned on the image data is the file location stored in the phone. So what we are essentially doing here is we are basically assigning the image source, for instance, to be file where your file is stored on the phone. Image.jpg, that sort of thing. Okay, so this is essentially what this statement is trying to do. If there's an error, what we're going to do is we're going to just call the alert and just shout out the error. Well, this is actually not entirely necessary, but well. Okay, so now we have the HTML in place. Before we port it over to the PhoneGap application as a native mobile application, because this is going to be a mobile Cordova PhoneGap app, so we need the Cordova statement. We need the Cordova JavaScript package. Okay, so this is to ensure that the plugin is able to access the plugin that's being built into Cordova. Okay, so now we have the HTML files required being done now. So I'm gonna go access, pull out my command prompt. I'm gonna create a PhoneGap project in my D drive in my www folder. Okay. So let's see. Okay, I'm just gonna create PhoneGap create camera app. Okay, see camera. Oops. So I've got a PhoneGap project created. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy this folder and my index.html into my camera app folder, www folder. Okay, so I'm going to copy all my jQuery necessary packages and my index.html into this PhoneGap folder. Replace the file in destination. Okay, to be honest, you don't need these additional folders as well, but well, we'll just leave it here. You can actually omit some of these folders, but it's alright, we'll just keep it there. Okay, so once we have copied it in, we need to install the plugin first. So to find out the installation package, the plugin API package, we just have to go to the PhoneGap documentation. Check out the plugin APIs and run the installation command. So take note, because we are using a PhoneGap installation, so we will be typing in PhoneGap instead of Cordova. So in my folder, make sure that you are in your app folder. Run PhoneGap plugin add Cordova plugin camera. Okay, so once this is done, you can confirm if the plugin has been installed by doing a PhoneGap plugin. So this will show that the plugin has been successfully installed. That's one. Alternatively, you can access the plugins and you will see that there's this folder of a Cordova plugin camera being exists in your plugins folder. So next, what you're going to do is we're going to port this app into an Android native app. So I'm going to PhoneGap -d build Android. Once the build is completed, I'm going to open up my Android Studio. I'm going to open the PhoneGap project. Camera app, platforms, Android. Okay. So once the build is ready, I can run it on my phone. It should prompt you if you are choosing a physical phone to test the device, which I'm going to do that because I need to test the camera feature, the camera plugin. Okay. Well, you can't see my phone interface here, so I'm going to use a separate plugin known as the Android screen monitor. So now I'm going to run my screen monitor, so you will be able to see my phone interface. Okay, so this is my actual phone interface. Okay, I'm going to start up by tapping on the camera button. Okay, as you can see, my camera application is being opened up. Let me just take a picture. Save it. And you see that the image is being displayed here.